folks, it's here. I'm excited to try this thing out. We got a Weber Searwood 600. Come along as we set it up and give it out its burn-in and first trials. And got it out. I'm getting ready to start the install. Just kind of getting everything out and sitting it out. The first thing I notice when I open this guy is the size. Honestly, it's quite a bit smaller than I was thinking. Now, this is not the XL, it's the regular. But I kind of wish I'd gotten the XL, and if this works out as good as I hope, then there may be an upgrade at some point in the future. So you might want to take that into consideration if you're ordering the Weber 600. You might think about the XL if you've got the space. One nice thing about this, as we begin, Weber uses the built app, so we should be able to get some good 3D instructions that will help us along. As a man, I don't like instructions, so that should help. Now, Weber's been just kind enough to pre-assemble part of this grill with the lid on and everything else, and then just dirty enough to tell you to take that apart as you start the installation process. As you're taking that apart, take some extra caution not to bend these small clips, because it looks like that would be really easy to do. There's one on each side of the inside for the lid. All right, so interesting problem, right? Trying to put this screw in the bottom hole. Now, we had the top one in. I took it out to see if it made a difference. I had the top one in perfect. Whether you hand thread this or try to use their tool, which barely fits the screw, either way, right? What happens is once you get in just past the first part of a turn, the screw wants to tilt up. And that's because this hole is not machined well, and it's not actually straight. And so I'm either going to have to call Weber and get a whole new thing, which I'm probably not going to do. This is very disappointing. Or I'm going to have to deal with this guy not working correctly. Now, it looks like it's working correctly, but when you get over here, you can see it's not actually in. And what happens is it wants to, right there, it wants to tilt up no matter what you do. That really stinks. Now we're together and we are in the grilling location. So I'm going to follow the instructions. Weber says that we need to update the software. So I'm going to got the app downloaded. I'm going to log in, update the software, and then we will start the burn-in process. So now we've got that fired up. That was an easy process to go ahead and get that started. And we'll see how fast that temperature begins to rise as it does its initial burn. We are approximately 7 minutes in. Just about a minute and a half, 2 minutes ago, pellets started to actually hit in the bottom there, and you can hear them. The fan just kicked into a higher gear, and the temperature is finally starting to rise. It's up to 75 degrees from 70 where it began. It just flipped over to 80, so temperature going up. Smoke is rolling. This process is just begun. So we'll check back in when this is all over with. So while that's going on, let's talk about the Weber app for just a moment, right? So first off, first impression, I really like this app. You can see it gives you loads of recipes. You can even filter those out by beef, pork, poultry, lamb, seafood, all types of different things here. Then you can actually, at the bottom, we can click on grills and we can see our current, any connected Weber devices. So we have the Searwood 600. We'll click that and we can control everything from here. Now we see that it's currently at 450 degrees because it is doing that burn-in right now. If we had down at the bottom here, we have our temperature scale. So it's going to show us, where the grill cruised for a little while there, and then all of a sudden just started to skyrocket once the pellets finally dropped and it had something to start fire with, right? It's going to take a little longer. You can't judge it. I know I said how long it took. It was about 7 minutes before it started to ramp up in temperature. But that's probably not typical, right? Because it had to get all those pellets through that auger tube the initial time. So that added at least a couple minutes to the time for that grill to raise in temperature. Also, there's a now grilling section of the app. In that now grilling section, I imagine if I had temperature probes hooked up, we would have some more information here that would actually be working. Right now, that's not doing anything for the initial burn-in period. And then we have our probe 1 and probe 2. Now, the Weber only came with one probe. Now, it's a pretty nice looking probe, but it only came with one. For a grill at this price point, I do kind of wish that it actually did come with 2 probes. Maybe Weber can fix that in the future. All right. One thing I'm certainly impressed by is the amount of smoke this thing rolls out of it. We're at 450 degrees. This thing has been running for quite some time, and it is just pouring the smoke, much more so than other pellet grills I've owned in the past. I mean, just look at the amount of smoke coming out of that at temp. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to shut this grill down, and the easiest way to do that is going to be right from the Weber app we were showing you a moment ago. We're just going to tap Shutdown. It's going to go into shutdown mode, which will take about 15 minutes. After that 15-minute timer goes out, the grill will go ahead and be completely shut down. And I can tell you that it is currently counting down on the grill itself right now as well as in the app. So when that's done, Weber says we're good to go. We're good to start grilling. The shutdown process is complete, and this is going to be our first look inside the Weber Searwood after the initial burn-in. I don't expect to find anything incredible, but hey, we're going to take a look and see, right? Also, it's a little bit chilly here, so I had to go in and throw on a hoodie. And there we go. Just as expected, nothing incredible. It's been about 30 minutes since I turned it off. Still got a good amount of heat in here, though. Very warm to the touch, but not too hot. I will notice that there is a little bit of ash just around, and that's to be expected. I mean, it is a pellet grill. There should be some ash, right? I will say a couple things. Initially, I said that I didn't like the size, that I wished I got the XL, and I still wish I got the XL just because, hey, more cooking space is more cooking space, right? However, I'm pleased with everything being put up. I think I could do 6 pork butts on here if they weren't huge pork butts. Definitely 4, no problem. So that's that's still quite a bit of cooking space even for the smaller version. I will say another thing to call out. I'm very happy with the location of the temperature probe. Those of you guys that use pellet grills know that it's very important to keep this probe clean, and that way you get good temperature readings. I like the location because it's going to be easy to clean, but also it's at grill level, right? So many of these temperature probes are in just odd places across pellet grills. So I like that it's at grate level, kind of in between the 2 grates. Going to get a good even temperature reading, and it's also in the middle of the grill across both sides. So that's it for setup and burn-in. First impressions are this seems to be a really solid pellet grill. I think I'm going to be really happy with it. As I noted a moment ago, I am happy with the size, even though I didn't think I would be initially. I really like the performance of the app and that connectivity through Wi-Fi. That's going to be a really nice feature to have. Are there things I could nitpick on this grill? Sure, there's minor things I could nitpick, but ultimately it looks like it's going to be a really good, really solid grill, perform really well, I hope. So stay tuned, check back, and we'll have additional videos, and we'll be doing some cooks on this thing.